So our next speakers are coming to us from Syngenta, and they're going to discuss how breeders leverage germplasm diversity for diverse markets. Joining us are Dean Lear, Regional Portfolio Manager for Watermelon for the Americas, and Rebecca Wendt-Naylor, Breeding Trial Specialist for watermelon, squash, and melon. So I will hand it over to them for a recorded presentation, and then they will join us live for Q&A.
Growing populations and diminishing natural resources are just some of the challenges faced by growers today. As one of the richest sources of vitamins and minerals, producing healthy, tasty, and affordable vegetables in an environmentally friendly way has never been more important. At Syngenta Vegetable Seeds, we're committed to supporting the people who work tirelessly to feed the world, now and in the future. Our seeds have improved resistance and adaptability and bring longer shelf life, unrivaled quality, nutrition, and flavor. We're anticipating the changing needs of our world with 30 crop species and over 2,500 varieties. It's a commitment in every seed. Through close partnerships and local dialogue, we put growers at the heart of everything we do, developing solutions that address their unique challenges and needs. It's our dedication to unmatched quality and the expertise of our people that makes this possible. 2,300 employees in over 50 countries dedicated to the pursuit of best-in-class produce. At our world-leading R&D sites, trialing stations, and facilities across the globe, we work with farmers, academia, and environmental groups to unlock genuine value through innovation, bringing new varieties to market that address disease, changing climates, and evolving consumer demands. Every day, we're making a real-world difference, transforming how crops are grown and enabling growers to sustainably and responsibly make better use of resources.
I'm Dean Leary. I am the Regional Portfolio Manager for Syngenta for watermelons. First harvest was recorded over 5,000 years ago in Egypt and has since then grown to a worldwide dominant crop.
Hi, my name is Ivy Perez and I'm the Marketing Communications Lead for Syngenta Veg Seeds. Did you know early explorers used watermelon as canteens and that there are over 1,200 varieties of watermelon grown in over 96 countries worldwide?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Wendt-Naylor, a breeding trial specialist here with Syngenta. Did you know that the United States produces and consumes the most seedless watermelon in the world, and that Florida, Georgia, California, and Texas are the biggest producers?
A lot of people want to know, how do you pick a nice ripe watermelon? Well, I cheat. I'm in the field, I take a knife out and I cut them in half. When you're in the store, bottom line is you want something like this. We can see the rind, see the lines, how they're starting to differentiate. You'll hear people say, oh, the lines are breaking, the stop's breaking. You want that? You flip it over, you want a little bit of a yellow spot if you can find it, but a lot of times you won't see that on watermelon. The other thing is pick it up out of the bin, hold it, get that nice sound, have a thud, not a ring. Perfect.
A lot of people ask us how seedless watermelons are created. They're actually created through a natural process that uses the plant's biology. So chromosomes contain all the genetic material that hold the traits for all living creatures. Plants and animals can have different numbers of the copies of their chromosomes. For instance, humans have 2 copies of their chromosomes, making us diploids. Potatoes are considered to be tetraploids because they have 4 sets of their chromosomes. Around 50 years ago, watermelon breeders discovered that they could cross a diploid watermelon with a tetraploid watermelon to produce a seedless watermelon. We take a male diploid flower and cross it to a female tetraploid flower and then grow that fruit to maturity. We can then harvest the seeds, which are considered to be triploids or having 3 sets of their chromosomes. Triploids are naturally sterile, so when we grow these seeds, they will produce a seedless watermelon plant that makes seedless watermelon fruit.
And Frankie gives a range of the types that you might see at the store when you go down and go shopping. I mean, there's everything from large size seedless. We have the small round seedless, which is very nice for the icebox. You can put in the fridge. Seeded types, different colors, yellow flesh, different rind patterns. Depending on the part of the world you're in, we'll have preference from some of the very dark green, what we call sugar baby types, the various types of stripes, to stuff you see in the U.S. We have something for everyone. And we're here today in our Naples Research Facility. Our Naples Research Facility is one site of many we have globally. We have actually 7 sites globally that we perform watermelon breeding at. In the United States we have Naples, and in California we have Woodland. Our focus and efforts being on the entire complete package, and that being disease resistance, quality, yield for the grower, a quality, desirable product for the consumer that brings them back for more. And we've been successful, starting with varieties like this, Fascination, and continuing on over the past 10 years. What I'm holding right now is a variety Fascination, which we first introduced approximately 8 years ago. This was helped start it all. Fascination is known for quality, disease resistance, yield. With that introduction, we followed up with Captivation, which we have down here in our trials a little bit further, and then Exclamation, trying to take off and build around the success of this variety Fascination. And most recently, we're coming out with varieties such as Sweet Dawn, which is behind me, which is a little bit different segment as far as maturity, being early, and a different genetic background, to the credit of Syngenta and our research programs. That's unlike what was several years ago. We have multiple backgrounds and genetic diversity that we're bringing into the market to further help provide a better adaptability, more variety differentiation, and something that will better fit the different growing regions within the watermelon production areas of the United States. In the case of Fascination, what you see in front of you, you'll notice immediately right off the bat the beautiful, gorgeous, dark red, deep color, nice flesh contrast with the rind, beautiful quality, excellent shape, excellent rind appearance, and the right size for the consumer and the broker to take to the market. People will come back and ask for the variety by name. This variety is now considered a standard in the market that brokers, growers, and consumers are even now aware of and ask for.
I'm Matt Kincaid, watermelon breeder at Syngenta, and we're here at our Naples Research Facility looking at the newest seedless watermelon variety in our portfolio, Excursion. Excursion's key features are a strong vine, large percentage of 36 count watermelons with a full disease resistance package of Anthracnose race 1 and Fusarium race 1. Excursion shows high adaptability to most seedless watermelon growing regions, and the key strength of this variety is its ability to make size under difficult conditions. Excursion has demonstrated high yields comparable to well-known varieties such as Fascination, Captivation, and Exclamation, with a nice, classy rind that shows really well in the bin. On top of all of those things, Excursion has very nice fruit quality, firm flesh, and is 2 days earlier than Fascination after transplant. Excursion cuts really well, has great firmness, crispy texture, and small pips, and is an excellent entry into any grower's seedless watermelon growing program.
As a part of the breeding process, we're constantly producing new varieties. This is one of our newest varieties. It's called Powerhouse and was formerly known as WDL 7401. This new variety has anthracnose resistance as well as Fusarium wilt race 1. One of the reasons why we like this variety is that it produces really nice blocky fruit and it has a really thick rind, so that's great for shipping. One of the things that I really like about this variety is that it has really high sugar content as well as a really excellent flavor. This variety is now available through the Full Count program as plants and as seed. We've been trialing Powerhouse throughout the United States over the past 3 years, and it's broadly adapted to multiple geographies, particularly in Florida, Georgia, Indiana, and North Carolina.
We're at our Naples research facility looking at seedless watermelon variety Sweet Dawn. Sweet Dawn is the earliest maturing seedless watermelon variety in our portfolio. The key features of the variety are an attractive dark green striped rind, 74 days maturity after transplant, in other words 5 to 7 days earlier than Melody, with 16 to 20 pound melon size. It also possesses intermediate resistance to Anthracnose race 1 and Fusarium race 1. The key feature of this variety, in addition to the maturity and the size, is the incredible dark red fruit quality. This variety is going to be a great tool for watermelon growers to hit the early market with size and quality. Other features include dense flesh. We see less hollow heart in Sweet Dawn compared to most varieties, and a nice crispy texture. It's an excellent addition to the watermelon portfolio, and it provides watermelon growers with a key tool, something that's truly early versus the main season varieties such as Fascination, Captivation, and Exclamation to round out their program.
Ulisiosa, which you can tell from the name, this is designed for Mexico. It's done very well in Mexico. The unique item about Deliciosa, it's early, but you can tell it has a little bit of the darker stripe on it, what we call the darker crimson stripe that looks similar to Fascination. So a little bit richer rind color, a little bit more appealing to the consumer and to the buyers that you're selling to. It has been quite nice in color because it does that. Extremely dark red color, very nice, good quality, high flavor, very good appeal, pairs well with Fascination. Two other varieties we have for Brazil are Manchester and our latest one, Liverpool. Manchester has dominated the market in Brazil for years. Large size, seeded type Crimson Sweet round has done extremely well for several years. We have a new one called Liverpool. Liverpool basically takes the benefits and the value of Manchester and improves it. Bigger fruit, more yield, with the added benefit of powdery mildew tolerance. So you get the added benefit of powdery mildew with this over Manchester. You can tell fruit size has been big. We've had trials where we see a yield increase with Liverpool. So a lot of reason for the grower to grow Liverpool as the next variety that he can go and take to the market and deliver that, which is all quite amazing. Very firm, will take the transportation, large fruit, everything that both the grower and consumer desire.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Wint-Naylor, a breeding trial specialist with Syngenta. Plant breeding relies on naturally occurring plant diversity to produce new hybrids. Here you can see some of the genetic diversity that Syngenta uses to produce these new hybrids, including the flesh color, rind pattern, and then fruit size and shape. Syngenta draws on one of the largest germplasm pools in the industry, so we're very interested in conserving genetic diversity. Using genetic and statistical tools, we are able to speed the breeding process to bring new hybrids to the market faster. This results in higher yields for our growers, better sustainability for the environment, and better tasting fruit for our consumers.
Thanks for the great presentation. Dean and Rebecca, I'm going to have you come up and join for the Q&A.
Cool.
Good morning.
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 Good. As we're waiting for some questions to come in, I wanted to ask a question first. So obviously, Syngenta has put a lot of focus on developing the firmer and better tasting watermelons compared to some of the older varieties. How do you think that this research has benefited growers and consumers, and what do you see on the horizon for the future?
Good question, because what we did is that one picture you saw with all the different kinds of watermelons and stuff, we pull out of that background some of these different types of germplasm we get to play with. Because I have one of the best jobs in the world. I get to eat watermelon all day. And we've identified some backgrounds that are firmer. And besides being firmer, the bigger thing is they retain the liquid inside the cut product better. Because what we need to do is design something so when you and I go down to the store and want to buy watermelon that's already cubed up, ready to eat, get rid of all that liquid that's in that container. And we have material that does that. It's firmer, but the bigger thing has lower purge, so you don't see this flush of liquid coming out of it. Because we need to get something within that realm so we can increase consumption and get a more desirable product that people want to eat and enjoy watermelon even more than what they do today.
Great, thanks. So from a consumer's perspective, what are some benefits of seeded versus seedless watermelon?
You want that one, Rebecca?
Yeah, I can go for that one. I'd say that it really comes down to personal preference. Some people really just prefer a seedless watermelon over a seeded watermelon. And really, it's your choice there. But one of the advantages of eating the seeded watermelon is that there are some health benefits for eating the seeds. They're pretty high in good, healthy fats and also protein, as well as some vitamins and minerals. But overall, it just comes down to what do you prefer to eat, a seeded or a seedless?
Interesting. I did not know that about the seeds.
And what we've seen in the market is that there was a great shift to seedless probably in the early 80s in the U.S. markets. And you talk to some of the old-time growers, when that shift occurred, all of a sudden there was such a high demand on seedless, they could barely sell all the seeded watermelons they had. And now the market in the U.S. has shifted to over 90% seedless watermelons right now. There's a lot of seeded watermelons, don't take me wrong. There's still a lot of seeded that's used in home gardens and local roadside stands, which are great. But it was driven by the consumers and the retail trade, where basically you go to the store and the most things you see now are seedless. And when they're harvested and done properly, they're fabulous.
Great. How long does it take to develop a commercial hybrid?
See, this is the fun question, because if you ask a breeder this question, they go into this long ad nauseum talk about how it takes 27 years to develop germplasm and genetics. And that's really, sorry, don't buy that. The reality is we have a wealth of germplasm, and what I tell the breeders and people like Rebecca, because she's one of the key people involved, is that from the time the breeder makes that cross, and I look at it in his trials on station, that variety is either going to be dead in 2 years or we're going to be selling it by the 3rd year. That's it. Because if we identify something good, we need to bring it to market quickly. Otherwise, you're not a serious player.
Yeah, and to echo off of that, we'll look at it at our stations in Florida and Georgia, and then pick maybe 5 to 10 of the best varieties that we see in those locations. And then we trial those throughout the United States to see how they're going to perform. And from there, we might only pick maybe one variety and push that one onto commercial. But we do a lot of commercial testing just to make sure that it's going to perform well before we take it into the marketplace.
Because within the realm of doing that, part of the reason is, and we've been successful in doing that, is because we have probably, legal told me I can't tell you what % share we have, but I can tell you that probably 1 out of 2 watermelons that you eat come from Syngenta. So we are very, very successful in the market. We need to bring new items in the market, new innovation, and be quick about it. We have people like Rebecca, who's one of our best ones, who basically, when I go out and look at her trials, it's very simple. If it doesn't pass the test of Rebecca, I really don't care. I don't want to look at it anymore. And then we identify, we move, keep moving, bring in some new traits, new disease resistances, and we proceed.
Thank you. Are you trying to breed more watermelons with shorter vines or earlier maturing for home gardens?
We've got a few that fit in that realm, because the trouble within the home garden or a big field is that a grower is picking a specific area, and he needs yield and needs quality. Well, so how do you get more yield? We can get more yield a few ways. One is trying to get a shorter vine so you get more fruit in a given area, or try to make it a more viney plant to again get more fruit in a given area. There are some bush types in the, if you look in the germplasm repository, there's some what they call bush types, but nobody's been really successful with those yet. So but we've been trying. But for the home gardener, there's some pretty good seeded varieties out there that if I was a home gardener, that's what I would start and work with, because they take up less room and a few other things that would be very good for a home gardener to try and have some good success.
Going along with that, any advice for home growers who want to grow seedless watermelon in their gardens?
Ooh, growing seedless is a pain. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, it's a pain. And the first thing they need to do before they try to get seedless is make sure you can grow. If you can grow a seeded watermelon first, then worry about it. And to do that in a home garden, watermelons take up a little bit of room. You need some room for it. They like heat. They like a lot of sun. They like a relatively well-drained soil. So the way you do that is you cheat. If I was a home gardener and I wanted to plant one in the backyard, what I do is I make myself a nice little mound of dirt. I probably go down to like Home Depot and get some real soil versus the crap I'm farming. Work it in, put a little compost, make a nice little raised area, maybe a little small raised bed. There's some seeded types you go on the websites. I would start with, there's a variety we have that's been around a while called Quetzalli. It's spelled Quetzali. And you can find that in some various of the home garden catalogs and areas. It's relatively early, kind of a medium-sized, small seeded type. There's actually, to even be better about it, because instead of believing me, you can go on to, there's what they call the All America Selection website, the AAS group, which is a third-party company that looks at and evaluates varieties throughout the U.S. that you can go and look on and see which ones have done well. Select one of those. There was one, in fact, I went back and looked. I used to be an All-American judge. It was kind of fun. Then I had to do real work. And there's a variety from years gone by there's one called Sweet Beauty. If you go on the website, I think that was one of the ones I picked years ago, or helped pick. So they have a list. Start with the seeded, because if you're successful with seeded, then you go to seedless. So start with that, then go to seedless.
And to echo off what Dean was saying, I would strongly recommend that you check with your county extension agent. They can help you figure out the right timing to go in. We're planting watermelons in Florida right now, and in most places in the country, you wouldn't want to be planting watermelons. So you kind of need to really think about that timing, and it generally takes about 70 to 90 days after transplant to produce a ripe fruit. So you have to keep in mind there's a lot of insects and fungi, a lot of things that can go wrong in that process, and your county extension agent can definitely help you there.
Great, thanks. Okay, so most stores only carry 1 or 2 watermelon varieties. And if you wanted to sample many varieties, is there a retail option for a homeowner?
No, not really. And the thing is, you think they're only carrying 1 or 2 varieties, but the reality is a lot of varieties look the same when you go to the store. There's probably, we commercially sell, probably the bulk of our sales is probably 7 different varieties. I'm not sure if I was a homeowner, I could tell that when I went to the store. The best thing you could do, to be honest, is probably go to one of the local farmers markets, and where they might have a little bit more of a range of types and selection, or some of the roadside gardeners, and select and try a few from them to get a better idea. Like I say, we have one. Like I say, it's an older variety. It's called Quetzalli. Quetzalli is the bird of Central South America. It's Quetzali. It's a nice little. The breeder who developed that was one of our first successful breeders by the name of Tom Williams. He's also the guy that developed a variety called Sangria, which is still recognized in the market as a high-flavored, very successful seeded variety.
Excellent. Okay, thanks. Let's see. How has the changing climate impacted watermelons in recent years, if you have seen that happen, and what are you doing to address those changing conditions?
Yeah, I can take that one. So with climate change, we're already seeing a lot of fluctuations in temperatures and weather patterns, as well as some increases in extreme weather events. So to combat this variability, we're really trying to select the most resilient new varieties that are widely adapted and can withstand adverse weather conditions better than their predecessors. And we do this by testing our new experimental hybrids with our current commercial growers throughout the United States. And then we select the plants that perform well under these real life grower conditions and drop any hybrids that don't have consistent performance. And a good example of this would be our watermelon variety called Excursion. I've seen this produce fruit in some of the worst environmental conditions from South Florida to Indiana to California. It's really widely adapted and honestly seems to flourish, especially when it takes a beating.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have another question. Can you talk about the distribution supply chain model for watermelons in North America or globally? And how are your seeds eventually getting to full-grown watermelon in a retail store?
Sure, we can talk about that. Basically, with all of our watermelon seed, whether seedless or seeded, they're all hand-pollinated hybrids. So by and large, that's all being produced primarily in one of several different foreign countries we work with, because we need a lot of labor to perform this operation. We get the seed back to the U.S. We test it thoroughly for disease and uniformity. We have two basic models. We have a system of dealers that we sell through, who then sell to a lot of the bigger growers. Whether it be some of the big dealers in the east, Clifton Seed, Seedway, Rups, Rispens, right down the list. They sell our products. Number one. Number two, we actually sell transplants. We sell because all seedless watermelon are eventually transplanted, and making transplants from seedless watermelon is kind of a pain. So we offer that. For the home gardener, we sell through our group in Syngenta Flowers, who sells to a lot of the home garden network and smaller retail stores and so on. And you'll see a lot of our varieties being offered within that. That's where you get out to, like say, when I was checking on the Kitsalee thing, Southern Exposure Seed Exchange, Fedco Seeds, TNT Seeds, David's Garden Seeds. You'll see our varieties also offered through them.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Dean and Rebecca. I don't see any other questions at this time. We have a couple more minutes in case there's any last minute comments that you'd like to make. Otherwise, if we did not get to your question or you think of something later, please feel free to continue putting those in the chat box or send them to us via email and we'll follow up after. So Dean and Rebecca, any final words?
Yes, I got one more thing for all you. If you haven't found it, there's a website called watermelon.org. And if you go to that, it's basically by the National Watermelon Promotion Board, which is one of the commodity groups, but they have a huge amount of information on watermelon health, nutrition, recipes, local events. I mean, watermelon is one of the most healthiest products there is out there. It's got a high amount of lycopene. It's nutrient dense, hydration abilities, a lot of good things about it. In fact, actually, watermelon has more lycopene than tomato because it's bioavailable to the body. In tomato, you have to cook it. With watermelon, all you got to do is eat it, and it's a great, fun crop, most exciting. But again, watermelon.org. So go check that out.
Thanks. Good resource. Okay, Rebecca, anything from you?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all for inviting us today. And, we're really happy to share our goals. And really our main goal is just to produce genetic solutions for our growers, consumers, really all of our stakeholders along the line. So we're really excited to hear any feedback that you all have. And thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. I know I definitely learned some new things about watermelon. All right. We'll see you soon.
Excellent. Thanks. Thank you.